Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be addressing the recent Uni Fashions UK post in which they basically slandered Cambridge students for having a funny language. Oh, and the other thing to note is that this will be useful for any incoming freshers this year or any years in future, because there's a lot of words that we have at Cambridge which might not make sense to you when you arrive, so it's good to get your head around them before you go. And I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so I'm just going to find the post now on Facebook, Uni Fashions UK. So it says, it was posted on the 1st of September, so it says, Cambridge students, we're completely normal and our uni is just like yours. Also Cambridge students, to celebrate finishing tricourses, I'm meeting with a bunch of mathmos in the Emma Plodge so we can punt to Mainsbury's. Whoop whoop, Stephen too. So there you go, that was the post, and there have been a lot of people reacting, including myself. It's got just under 600 responses and a lot of comments, including me tagging my parents and saying, is this really what I sound like? And apparently it is. So I thought I would make this video and address some of the language in that little sentence and make a little dictionary for all of you guys that are thinking of going to Cambridge or just are curious as to what are kind of like weird languages. I'm sure every uni has their own kind of weird language. I've got a little list of all of the language we have at Cambridge, so I thought I would go through it. So it is in alphabetical order like a dictionary, but unfortunately we don't have anything for A. So we'll start with B. So the first thing is blue, and you guys will know that blue is a colour, but at Cambridge and at Oxford we have like specific types of blue. So Cambridge is the light blues, Oxford is the dark blue, and like a navy, and basically if you're a blue it means that you have an award for being a student that is really good at your sport. So we have like blues for rowing, and those are the guys that compete in the Oxford v Cambridge like rowing race once a year, and it's really, you are the top of your game. And we have full blues, half blues. Full blues is for like a limited number of traditional sports, and half blues is for things like cheerleading, trampolining, all of that kind of thing. And the more blues you get, obviously the more sporty and better you are, and this kind of thing of getting as many blues as you can is called blue tacking. Then we have brunch. Now brunch is obviously a word that most people use. Every college at Cambridge does brunch at least once a week. Some colleges do it twice or 3 times a week. Pembroke was traditionally believed to be the best, but don't tell them. I've spoken to students at Pembroke and I've spoken to students at other colleges, and we kind of all know that Pembroke isn't the best anymore. Actually, it's terrible. But I never said that. I never said that. Okay, so then we have bumps, and bumps is the name for the race that happens twice a year. We have Lent bumps and Easter bumps, and basically that's like a rowing race but not traditional. So you're not side by side and going along the river. You all start spread out along the river in a row, single file. The boats set off at the same time and you have to catch up with the boat in front of you, hence the name bump. You're meant to bump them. It's quite dangerous though, and I haven't done it yet as a cox, so I'm quite kind of nervous to do that for the first time this year. Then we have bops. So bops are like college parties organised by the college, JCR, which is like the student committee for the college, and they're not always called bops. Sometimes they're just called ENTs, which is like short for entertainment or events, and Corpus, for example, calls them slacks. So every college calls them something different, but generally they're called bops. And then we have collections, which we don't have at Tit Hall, but some colleges still do this. This is like a first year mock exam period in January. The really horrible colleges make their students do them, but they don't actually count to anything at all. It's just a really intense, I don't know, way of testing students that they do in January of first year. It doesn't matter at all. Yeah, that's a collection. Then we have cuppers. So cuppers are like sporting matches that happen between colleges. The class list is a list of names and classes, obviously, so like first 2-1, and it's published every year in the summer holiday or like just after exam results come through, and tells students where they sit in terms of like ranking for their subject. And they used to publish it outside the Senate House, and you could actually go up and read your name. They've stopped doing that, mostly this year because of COVID, and I think they're thinking of scrapping it completely. Okay, Caesarean Sunday, yes, See Sunday. Sunday is like an annual tradition at Cambridge. It happens every May bank holiday weekend on Monday. Oh no, on the Sunday, why am I saying Monday? It happens on the Sunday, obviously, it's See Sunday. It's typically a day of like drinking lots and just getting a bit crazy on Jesus Green. It's named after the drinking society at Jesus College, but you can Google it if you want. There's lots of articles about it. The Daily Mail love writing about how Cambridge students get off their heads and are actually normal people, believe it or not. We do like a drink and have to have some fun sometimes. And then we have college nicknames. So this one was in the Uni Fashions post. So Emma is short for Emmanuel, Keys is short for Gomblin Keys, Cats is short for St Catherine's, Tit Hall is obviously short for Trinity Hall, and then Medwards is short for Murray Edwards. We have Fitzwilliam, they've all got like little short names. And then we have Cam Card, which is the little card, like an ID card that gets you into college, buys your food for you, lets you walk through King's College for free if you're a student, takes out library books, prints things for you. Cam Card is essential, make sure you don't lose it. Then we have college staff. So a bedder is someone that normally cleans your room every fortnight. They don't make the bed and they don't tidy the room. They just like hoover the floor and like clean the sink, but they're really lovely normally, and like you can have a good chat with your bedder. And they're great. And then we have the dean. We have a dean of discipline at Tit Hall, but they're basically someone that just tells you off if you do naughty things. So for example, you can get deaned if you sit on the statue of the horse at Jesus College. A DOS, so that's DOS, and that is your director of studies, and they're like your academic leader. They like make sure that you're turning up to your supervisions and handing in your essays on time. A fellow is someone who holds an academic research position, or like you can be an honorary fellow, so you've worked with a college for a long period of time, you've done good service. And then we have a master, who is like the head of the college. We don't actually have one at Tit Hall at the moment because he was involved in a scandal. Oh dear. Yeah, not great. Most colleges do have a master. They can also be called a principal or a warden. Then we have porters. These are the guys that like look after you, make sure you're okay. They are like the security guards of the college, and it's good to make friends with the porters. They're good fun and they look after you. So porters are great. Then we have tutor, and they're like everyone at Cambridge will have a tutor. They are responsible for your pastoral care. So you have your DOS for your academic and your tutor for everything else basically. Okay, and then we have different clubs. So like the clubs in Cambridge all have funny names. So we have Life, or like Sunday Life I think it's called. It keeps changing its name, but we all still call it Life. Or Vinyl, I think it's called Vinyl now. And they call it Sunday Life because I think that's a big club night at Life. Cindy's has been closed, I believe. I think it closed down last year, which is a bit of a shame. Wednesday night Cindy's was a big thing. Lola Lowe's is still there, and I'm definitely going to be going to Lola's this year. Basically it's like got multiple floors, and each different floor has a different theme, which is quite fun. Okay, Fairs, we've got rid of Fairs, it's now called MASH, and they do like Brew Wednesdays, which seems quite cool. I might go there. They do like free pizza and donuts, sounds pretty good. And then Danger Spoons is the name for going to Spoons on a Saturday. Apparently it's dangerous because it's filled with like local people who don't get on with the Cambridge students. We have Townies, they are like the local people that live in the town, and then Downies, who are like Cambridge students and they don't get on traditionally. Okay, and then Junction, which is like a massive venue in Cambridge. Junction is like, I went to a Keelogarm sale there. It's a massive venue in Cambridge where you can have like nights out, it's pretty good. Okay, and then Footlights, which is another club we have Cambridge. It's like the theatre club. A lot of the Monty Python, like Stephen Fry kind of era, all of those big names kind of came from Footlights Club. I think Emma Thompson, Hugh Laurie, yeah, a lot of them. Moving through our alphabet, we go to formals. So there are little words for formals specifically. Formal is like a dinner that we have at college. It's held in the dining hall. It's very fancy. It's 3 courses. You normally get some wine as well. Then we have something called pennying. So that's when you make someone down their drink by putting a penny in it. So you put a penny in their glass and then they have to drink their whole drink very quickly. 5 pennying, that's when you put a 5p in someone's dessert before they pick up the cutlery. They have to eat the dessert without their hands. It's banned at most colleges actually because of it being a choking hazard. Engineer penny is a penny that's folded in half, which happens during engineer practicals. Apparently it's a mystery practical that engineers have where they fold a penny in half, and you have to put it in the wine bottle, meaning that you have to down the bottle of wine. And then we have grace, obviously, which is like saying a prayer before you eat. And I am going to pause this video because I need to go out, but I will come back and finish it this afternoon. Okay, I'm back. I've come back from my little trip out, and I'm going to get through the rest of this dictionary of Cambridge words. So let's continue where we left off. So the last one we have was grace as part of the formal language, and next we have Gardies. So we're moving on from F to G. So Gardies is short for Gardenia, which is like one of the kind of takeaway restaurants in the centre of town. It's actually really close to Tit Hall. It's probably our closest, yeah, it probably is our closest takeaway. They do like fish and chips, they do loads of vegan options, they do falafel. It's really good, and you can get your photo put on the wall if you're like the last people in the restaurant before it closes. So I think I may have said earlier that we have townies and gownies. So, but we have gown. So gown, if you wear a gown, it means you're a Cambridge student. So all of the colleges apart from King's have to wear a gown for matriculation and for formals. Most people order them online, but you can buy them from 2 shops in Cambridge. I actually got mine second hand from the JCR at my college, but there's one shop called Eden Ravenscroft, which is like the slightly more high-end expensive one, and the quality's a bit better. And then there's also Ryder and Amy's, which is like the standard one in town that most people buy their gown and other kit from. I think Tit Hall has the same gown as a couple of other colleges, but some of them are like blue. Like I think the Linky's gown is blue, not black. Generally people do lose their gowns and end up swapping them with people after a night out. And then we have something called JIP. So JIP is the name we give to our small tiny kitchens, and if you guys want to go and watch my video of me cooking in our JIP, then by all means please do. I will link it above and also down below. But yeah, JIP is the Cambridge word for mini kitchens, and they are not really kitchens, that's being kind. They're basically enough to cook beans on toast and maybe pasta if you're lucky. But this year I get a proper kitchen. I'm very excited because I love cooking and baking, so I can actually do things outside of the microwave this year. Oh, I've already mentioned, I think, or maybe I didn't, but we have, so you know how I said about blues, we have Cambridge blues. Male blues are called hawks, and those who identify as female are called ospreys. Basically, you have to be a blue or a half blue to be an osprey or a hawk. There's something called the Hawks Club, which is really cool. I've got cousins that are blues, and they took me to the Hawks Club once for dinner, but it's like a club for the boys that are blues. Okay, then we have hall. So the hall is where you buy your college food, so like your college brunch, your college dinner, that's what you get from hall. You just scan your CAM card and you get food. Okay, intermission. So if you intermit, that is where you take a break in your studies, either to normally recover from like an illness or to work on mental health. Then you can take a year out, or you can intermit, and then you just come back and continue with your studies basically. Okay, JCR. Now, yeah, I mentioned the JCR already. So this is like the student body for the college. Junior common room is generally like for undergraduates, and then we have MCR, which is like for mature students. Matriculation is when you join the university and you have to sign your life away. You literally write your name on like paper normally, and then that's it. You have signed your declaration, you're a member of the college. Some colleges matriculate right at the beginning of the year on first year. Some of them do it a few days in. We didn't quite have that this year. Like my year, we had an online kind of matriculation and it wasn't very glamorous, but normally you have to wear your gown and then you get dressed up and you have a matriculation dinner, but I didn't get that. No hard feelings. Okay, May week. May week is after exams. They call it May week, although it actually happens in June. So that after all of the June exams are done, you have this big thing called May week, and you do like May balls, June events, all of this fun garden party type stuff they do at Cambridge. May week Sunday is also a thing. So that's the Sunday like immediately after the term finishes. Also sometimes called Suicide Sunday, but the name is quite controversial, so they sometimes call it May week Sunday instead. Basically a big party Sunday. Then we have, we're moving on from M to O. So the first one in O is Orgasm Bridge, and if you guys have seen my like walking around Tit Hall in the summer term video, then you'll know that we have this bridge called Orgasm Bridge, and it's basically a nickname for the real name, which is Garrett Hostel Bridge. So Garrett Hostel Lane is the road that goes past Tit Hall, and this bridge has this other nickname. Moving swiftly on, we have the ospreys. I've already mentioned that the male identification equivalent is called hawks. If you identify as female, then you are an osprey, if you're a blue or half blue. And we have these matches, these varsity matches, which are between Oxford and Cambridge, or the blues matches. Okay, Pidge is short for pigeonhole, and this is where your post gets put. So the porter puts your post in your Pidge, and you have to go and collect it from them. And everyone has a little Pidge in the Plodge. Gosh, so many words. Plodge is coming up in a minute. So you have your Pidge in Plodge, and that has your name on it. And then we have Pit Club. So this is basically the poor man's Bullingdon Club. So Bullingdon Club is like the Tory lads club at Oxford. We have the Pit Club at Cambridge. So basically you have to be male and have more than like a certain amount of money in your account to join the Pit Club. Okay, Plodge. I've mentioned this lots of times before in my other videos. So Plodge is the Porter's Lodge. This is where you collect your CAM card when you start, where you tap in and out when you enter the college. You get your post from there. If you need to speak to a porter about anything, there's always a porter on duty in the Plodge. Okay, prelims. So if you are not doing, traditionally, if you're not doing STEM, so if you're doing history, English, Anglo-Saxon, Norse and Celtic, or classics, you have to do prelims during the, like just after the Easter holiday, at the beginning of Easter term in first year. So classics also have to do exams, proper exams as well. so it kind of sucks, but prelims are basically just exams you do early. So, oh yes, we have here now being sent down. So if you're sent down, that means you've been expelled. This doesn't happen very often, but basically if you do something really bad, really bad, you'd have to do something really bad for this to happen. This is more than being deemed. This is like the worst it can be. This can apparently happen if you jump in the fountain at Trinity College, you get sent down. Fun fact. Okay, Sidgwick is the home for most of the university arts and humanities faculties. So if we call it the Sidgwick site, we're referring to this big central academic bit of the university campus. I think I would have had a couple of lectures at the Sidgwick site last year, but it's mostly like classics and languages and history. Now we move on to subject slang. So these are like the college nicknames. We have nicknames for the subjects. So HSPS stands for Human, Social and Political Science. So you basically do 4 subjects in the first year, the most popular being sociology and social anthropology, and then you do politics and international relations, and then things like biological anthropology is the human bit. And then people kind of specialise and call it politics or sociology in 2nd and 3rd year. Okay, CompSci is short for computer scientist students. NatSci is short for natural scientist students, and that's basically you do like physics or biology. You can also do geology, chemistry, but we call them NatScis. Ingling is short for English literature student. PBS is short for psychology and behavioural studies or behavioural sciences. Mathmo is short for mathematicians, and then we have the Trinmos, who are like the most intelligent people you'll ever meet. They are the Trinity mathematicians, so they're just so clever and cool that they have their own name, Trinmos. Okay, MML is short for Modern and Medieval Languages. ASNAC is Anglo-Saxon, Norse and Celtic Studies. And then for like generic other stuff, we have geographer, medic, all these subjects that don't need shortened names. Oh, and HISPOL is the other one that I haven't put on my list, but yeah, HISPOL, history and politics. Supervision is nicknamed SUPO. At Oxford they call this tutorial, I believe, but we have supervisions and we nickname them SUPOs. That's where you have your one-on-one lessons with like a fellow or someone who's an expert at what they're teaching you. To do stash. Stash is next. So stash is the name for items of clothing which you have either for like your college, for a society that you do, for a committee that you're on. Everyone has some stash of some sort. I have my college puffer jacket is a form of Trinity Hall stash. I have Tit Hall Medvet stash. I have like a fleece with my name and initials on it. Okay, spraying. This is where you get sprayed with some champagne or normally something cheap like Prosecco after your exams finish. If you go on Instagram around late June and look at Cambridge students, they will be being sprayed. Okay, swaps. I promise, guys, we're getting quite close to the end now. Swaps. Swaps are when you have a night out that's organised to mix and mingle between different societies. The UL is the University Library. Some people have called it the Shaft, new name. The UL, the Shaft, whatever you want to call it, is basically looks like the Tate Modern. I'll put a little picture of it here. It is controversial. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's quite brutalist architecture. It's situated just behind Clare College and in front of Robinson College. Okay, then we have the Van of Death, aka Uncle Frank's, and the Van of Life. These are 2 rival chip vans, basically. One of them got stolen though this year. I think it was the Van of Death. Went missing. How sad. Okay, Varsity is the newspaper, both the name for the newspaper that we have at Cambridge. It's the oldest and only independent newspaper. And we also have Varsity as in the series of competitions that take place between Oxford and Cambridge, normally sporting, and when we get our stash out. The most important Varsity thing that goes on is probably the rowing. So the Oxford v Cambridge Blues rowing race, which takes place usually in April every year. Normally in London, but this year they did it in Ely. Apparently Violet is the name for the jazzy section of Varsity. Lots of people haven't heard of it, but it sits like right in the middle of the paper. Okay, and then we have the names for terms. So we have Michaelmas is first term, Lent is second term, Easter is the third term or exam term. Okay, Townies, I mentioned before, this is the name for people that live in Cambridge or who don't attend the university. So that includes the Anglo-Ruskin students and the locals. Saturday is known as Townie night, and that's a night that most Cambridge students don't go out. Okay, Tripos. Oh yeah, this was in the Facebook post. Tripos is the name for our degrees, basically. Tripos is broken into part 1 and 2. Part 1 is 2 years long, part 2 is the 3rd year. It actually tends to go, it refers to the name for the stool that they used to sit on in exams. So it was a 3-legged stool, something like that, and that's where the word tripos comes from. VK is, obviously, as many of you know, it is a type of alcoholic drink, and it is the night that many Cambridge students will choose on a night out, although probably not me. Okay, these are the websites we have. We have Raven, that is the web authentication website. It has a little image of a raven. Sometimes the raven dresses up for different seasons, like he wears a Santa hat on Christmas Day, and I think he has a gay pride flag during Gay Pride Month. It's quite cool. Okay, Moodle is where we do all our online learning. It's our online learning platform. CamSys is where you get all of your like academic reports. CamCourse is where you get your supervision reports. iDiscover is for humanities students. I don't really use it, but it's like the online library. Week 5 Blues, yeah, this is an Oxford thing as well. Okay, so Week 5 Blues is the name for when people feel a bit down in Week 5 because they're a bit tired and worn out, and it's hard work, but you're over halfway through term. And then just weak, the word weak. Now, this isn't weak as in like, oh, you have no strength, like weak and feeble. This is weak as in Monday to Friday kind of thing. Because at Cambridge, the academic week starts on a Thursday, not a Monday. Does anybody know why? Probably. Ask the history students or the English students, just don't ask me. But anyway, we have week starting on a Thursday, finishing on a Wednesday. So yeah, we don't have a normal week. We don't have a working week. We just have the Cambridge week. Oh yeah, one more thing. Mainsbury's is the name for the Sainsbury's in the centre of town. We have Mainsbury's, Far Wainsbury's, which is like Eddington Sainsbury's. Far Wainsbury's, which is the one way out by like the David Lloyd on the other end of town, and Trainsbury's, which is like the one by the train station, and Slocal, which is the name for the Sainsbury's local. We have lots of Sainsbury's in Cambridge. And we have Whoop Whoop Stephen Toop, and Stephen Toop is our vice principal. He's an important man that runs Cambridge basically. He sends us emails, he's very nice. So we all love Stephen Toop. Whoop whoop indeed. Okay, so that is the end of this video. I hope you guys now understand some of the weird Cambridge words that we have. I promise though, the first sentence, we're completely normal and our uni is just like yours. I think we'll want to believe that, but I mean, clearly Whoop Whoop Stephen Toop isn't what you guys go saying at like, I don't know, Leeds or wherever. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you have any more questions, or if anyone at Cambridge watches this and thinks, oh, Louisa, you missed out some words, comment them down below and let everybody have your insider knowledge in the Cambridge Dictionary, and I will add it to my list. And be sure to give it a big thumbs up, like, subscribe and comment, and I will see you again next time. Bye!